Hey there, thanks for joining me. Good leadership is always proactive and adaptive. And as the world around us continues to change and evolve, we as leaders should always be seeking to identify, to understand, and to respond to some of those changes, some of the trends that are happening, so that we remain both relevant and effective. As the context changes, the context within which we lead, well, so must our leadership. What's made us successful in the past may not necessarily make us successful in the future. This week, Deloitte released their Gen Z and Millennial survey, and its subtitle was Progress on Their Own Terms. Now, this survey had data from 22,500 individuals, and the report contains some interesting insights that can inform how you might lead at work. Now, the report doesn't contain anything that's going to require you to drastically change your leadership style, but it might help you understand your people a little bit better, understand some of the broader trends that might be affecting some of the younger members of your workforce, and maybe help you tweak and make some adjustments in your approach to motivating them. Now, I just wanted to share there's 7 key insights in this report. I just want to share 3 of them here with you. Now, the first one is that financial pressures are shaping both personal and professional decisions. So increasingly, both millennials and Gen Z are postponing life and career decisions due to financial pressures. Things like getting married, having kids, doing some further study, buying houses, starting businesses, all those sorts of things. The cost of living is occupying their headspace a whole lot more. And then there's half of respondents were actually reporting that they live paycheck to paycheck, and about a third of people were struggling to pay bills. Now, this is something that you as a leader need to be aware of. The more your young people are feeling the cost of living pinch, the more heightened their psychological threat system is going to be. They're kind of going to be in survival mode a little bit more. And that may mean that normal workplace demands might cause an abnormally high stress response. It's something that we need to be aware of and across as leaders. Leadership ambitions are conditional trade-offs. This is one of the other things, the second kind of big insight that the report had that I wanted to highlight here. The report kind of echoes what I've been hearing anecdotally and also hearing from some of my clients as well, that younger staff find traditional leadership and management positions less and less attractive. For many leadership roles, they're associated with just too much stress, too much responsibility, and a lack of work-life balance. And these are trade-offs that increasingly younger people are just saying, hey, it's not worth it. So the report indicates that younger people are saying that career advancement is still desired over time, but most are not willing to sacrifice the quality of their life, and they're seeking more and more opportunities that have a greater level of flexibility in it. So what does that mean for you? Well, if you're looking to promote someone into a leadership role or encourage certain individuals within these younger generations to take on more responsibility, rather than simply offering it the way that the role has always been, right? Or simply dictating to them, this is what it is. Why don't you sit down with them and say, hey, this is what I'm thinking. I'd love for you to step up. Why don't we have a think about how we craft this leadership or this management role? What does it look like to meet both the needs of the business, but also the needs of the individual? And it's important that both of those are met. We can't just tailor and pander to individuals and not have the business needs met. We need to start with that. But what would need to be true in order for those business needs to be met and also have some of those quality of life things, needs met for the individual as well. All right, a little bit more flexibility around that, and explore it. See what's there. The third insight from this report that I wanted to share with you today, purpose and connection define the ideal workplace and they influence retention. That's the headline from the report. 97% of millennials and 96% of Gen Z indicated that a sense of purpose is incredibly important to their level of satisfaction in the workplace. And it's indicating that people aren't just turning up for a paycheck like they might have done in older generations. So, additionally, it said that there were 40% of those surveyed indicated they've actively rejected employers and employment opportunities due to concerns around the ethical operations, personal beliefs, and that sense of purpose, or a lack of. So that's super important, right? We need to be aware of that as leaders in terms of how we are framing the work that we do, particularly if we are looking to attract new people in. Connection with co-workers has also been highlighted as a key motivator for staff. Those that had colleagues that they also considered a personal friend, well, they had far higher intentions to stay for more than 5 years. Again, super important from a retention perspective, right? And these findings should not be surprising, right? Well, we understand that intrinsic motivation, the four there, autonomy, mastery, connection, and a sense of belonging, and a sense of purpose, right? So if you think about all of these things that we're highlighting in this report, they are much more, their intrinsic motivations seem to be much more important to these younger people rather than just some of the extrinsic motivations in terms of just pay and conditions, that might have attracted older generations in the past. Now, with the average organisational tenure in Australia sitting currently at about 3.3 years, so that's how long people stick in the one organisation on average, fostering this sense of belonging through purposeful work, through strength of connection, is one of the most effective retention strategies that you can get, right? So being intentional about highlighting how the work you do contributes not only to the health of the company, but the health of the community as well. How is it serving people bigger picture? And cultivating healthy relationships between team members, well, that requires the same level of intentionality. So, if you provide thoughtful structure around some of the team-based activities and also provide some space for informal interaction, it's time that's not going to be wasted, right? So these are just three key insights from the report. There's, as I said, there's 7 major ones. I've just selected those 3 here. I encourage you to download it and read it, right? I'll put the link in the description below. Now, my recommendation is that you don't treat the findings of this report and this survey as gospel and seek to make major, leadership changes in the way that you work based on its findings. Here's what I recommend you do. Use it as a catalyst for conversation with your people. Discuss how is the cost of living crisis hitting the team, right? Explore whether it's affecting the way that they show up. That's really important for you to understand. Maybe you might ask about people's perceptions of leadership and leadership roles within the company. Maybe you might ask and explore about the sense of purpose and connection and how they might be strengthened. Those conversations that you have with your team are so much more important than any numbers and statistics that come out of this particular report. If you are having some of these conversations with your people, you are demonstrating that you are proactive and being intentional in your approach to leadership. And when we combine, that with the, acting on the ideas that might come up from some of those conversations, you're going to build a sense of trust, a sense of credibility, and ultimately a greater sense of influence with your people. And as a result of your leadership, they will be willing to do more, to stick around longer, and maybe make a bigger contribution to you, your business, and ultimately the community. That's good leadership. So, my encouragement to you is discuss the findings with your people. Identify one tweak that comes out of those conversations that might make work and work life a little bit better, right? So, until next time, lead well.